Hello, we're back. I bet you wondered if we'd be back, but we're back. It's Josh and Austin.
Feel like we say this every time, Josh. I don't know if anyone's ever actually told me that they were wondering where we are, but in our heads, people are wondering when we
I
have a
will
long break
say
like that.
it is merited. I mean, anyone who you don't hear from for like 2 months it's there's a good chance they're dead. So
Yeah,
I do have to let our people know that it is us. It's not AI. It's real humans.
that's
But
true. That's
yeah,
a concern now. That's a concern. Someone could just take our backlog and upload it and generate as many podcasts as they want. Which I guess if you're starving for Josh and Austin content, that's one way you could fill the gaps, as it were.
yes, yes. Austin, you're sick again,
Think again.
which I apologize for.
I know. I feel like I was sick, I think, last time we recorded. I got better, and now I've got sick again. I think it's a stage of life thing, right? Where it's like we have two
Hmm.
small children. We don't sleep very well at all. We're trying to sell our house, which, by way of an update, we still haven't sold our house, but we have a couple interested parties this month, so we're hoping that one of those works out. But over the
Hmm.
holidays, we did make the call to just go ahead and close on the new house before we sold our current house. So, as of recording, we are closing on the new spot a week from today, which is
Nice.
is really nice
Oh,
to
that's coming
have.
up.
Yes, yeah, it's really nice to just have like some forward momentum. Things are happening. We can actually uh, move into the next phase of life instead of being caught in this limbo. Because I will say, I do not recommend having your house for sale. Um, for over 3 months with two small children where you're doing, I think we're up to like right around 25 or 30 showings that we've done over the past 3 months,
My
and
gosh.
each one of those is a house clean and a wrangling the kids and a get out of the house for a while. And so
Hmm.
we were ready to be done with all that, so I just decided to pull the trigger. We're going to move in. We're going to have two houses for hopefully a short period of time. um,
Yeah.
but yeah, combine all that, and the health definitely has taken a hit. It's suffering. I haven't been able to prioritize it, but hopefully once we get to the new spot, all that'll clear up.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll all fall into place. You'll sell your house, you'll move in, the kids will be sleeping, and you'll be not sick. So I'm wishing that all upon
I
you here.
that's funny. I keep telling my wife, like, just wait till we get to the new house. It's gonna solve all of our problems. Kids are gonna sleep the whole night. We're gonna be the happiest we've ever been. My hair is gonna start growing back. I'm gonna lose 30
Yeah.
pounds. Uh,
Except
she said I might be
that's
putting
the
a
way
little
it
bit too
works.
much into it, but we'll see. We'll see who's
Too
proven
much
right.
pressure, too high of expectations can lead to resentment, Austin.
Yeah,
So
I don't
take
know. We'll see.
uh cool. Well, how was your Christmas and holiday with everybody besides all the chaos?
Yes, it was good. We stayed around here. Didn't have to do any traveling. We hit Christmas with my wife's family on Christmas Day, and then my family always does Christmas on New Year's Day because we have such a large contingent on my side that
Yeah.
it's easier to just get away from the holiday itself for scheduling purposes.
Yeah.
So we did. Yeah, had those couple of Christmases. It was pretty low key, just hung around. Uh, Daisy, our almost 3-year-old daughter's at a really fun age for Christmas. Like, she was excited just about
Yeah.
everything. Super
It's a
excited
really
about
fun age.
lights and trees and presents and stockings, and had a super fun time. So that was a blast. Getting to watch her really the whole Christmas season. Um, and yeah, other than that, it was run of the mill, straight down the middle. A lot of good food, a lot of good family time. It's again another reflection of just like I feel like the years are just going by faster and faster and faster. I know
Yeah.
everyone says that as they get older, but it definitely is ringing true for us as the years go on. How about you, Josh? How was your Christmas season?
It was great. It was chaos. It was full of adventure. I we had yeah, this is the first year that we've had a kid home all the way through Christmas break for 2 weeks from school since Barrett went to kindergarten. They had
Right.
2 weeks off. And so that was new. And it wore over time. I think it was just hard to keep him entertained at home, and it's also really challenging having Christmas and then a week later New Year's, and then Barrett's birthday is the day after New Year's.
Oh,
So,
okay. Wow.
uh, so you're like cramming a lot in there. Anytime we get presents going, it's kind of chaos in our house. Leading up to Christmas, we had a few birthdays, and so I think that just gets our boys riled up. And there's just lots of expectations around things that they're going to get and what they're going to play with, and so it's challenging from that angle. But we went to Iowa City to Bree's family for Christmas this time, and stayed there Christmas Eve and another day. Had some cousins in town from St. Paul, Minneapolis area, and Michigan, and so it was great to see all of them and get kids play together, and all the dogs in the house, 5 dogs. It's
Wow.
just a lot. Um, so yeah,
And,
that was our trip.
and did you guys get sick? Seems like with all that action, someone would bound to be to get sick.
Yeah, we had our youngest, our 1 year old, got some sort of. He actually kind of got sick starting when we were visiting New York back in early December, and then he was also, I think, same sort of like cold. The first night he didn't hardly sleep at all in Iowa City, and that was frustrating. Christmas Eve night. Um, but after that, he's turned a corner, and I think he's good right now. Everyone, knock on wood, is doing pretty good. Yeah, we've been really lucky this
Yeah,
year,
you got to
sickness
savor
wise.
that. You got to savor that for sure, especially with 3 kids now. It's like everything. Every moment of wellness is just like a brief reprieve until you're thrown back into
Yeah,
the arena.
I think our 1 year old's about to go into that zone too, where it's like a new bug every week because his
Yeah.
immune system's going to start picking up all this. So we're going to get hit hard, I think, this year. So we're ready.
It is that time of year, as they
Yeah.
say. As they say, now that the holidays are past. Right now, as we're recording, it's gray and raining in January,
Yeah.
which is not commonplace in Iowa this time of year. We've had a couple of uncommonly warm weeks
Yeah, it
after
was
the holidays.
55 yesterday. I was out taking down my Christmas lights. It's probably the earliest I've taken them down because it
Yeah,
was like a nice warm spring day. Middle of January, not even middle of January. Oh, we've
no,
got so much winter left.
I
Oh
know.
my
That's
gosh.
all I could think when it was like sunny and almost 60 yesterday. I was like, this is getting me in the mood for spring, but I just know we're gonna have multiple more blizzards and cold snaps in the near
It's like,
future. But
don't tease
that's
me.
I
Yeah.
know, but that's just something that just comes with the territory. It
Yeah.
does, and I assume you didn't work too much over the holidays, Josh. Have you been trying to get back into the swing of things here? How have you found that?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't work hardly at all at work, and that was that's I think that's a good sign. I'm not overly attached. I'm not feel like I'm missing out on anything, and it's nice that Shopify does a pretty big shutdown at the end of the year, and so everyone kind of does the same. It's handy. I will say though, Austin, and we can get into this later. Uh, Claude Opus 4.5 came out right before Christmas, and the people on Twitter have been cranking. Take that combined with everyone's at home with their free time, just pontificating about how everything is different now. And it was a little bit hard to tap in as I was chasing my kids around the basement and changing diapers. And I don't know. I have mixed feelings on that, but
What?
um,
But
yeah,
nothing's changed there, Josh. People on Twitter have been doing that since the introduction of ChatGPT, the first iteration.
that's
And
true.
then every time
I
a new
think
model drops, it's the same story.
it goes in phases, and I think it was just especially intense because everyone was on break and they
Yeah.
were able to work on all their side projects. It's like, oh, it's hard to keep up with all this.
I
So,
know. Wait,
yeah. How about
how
you? Were you able to work or stay away from work?
stayed away from work. Yep, did a couple of weeks. Week of Christmas, week of New Year's off, which is nice. Um,
Nice.
really nice. But yeah, kind of same story here. Like anytime I open Twitter, it's like, well, everything's changing again for the fourth and let's see, what was it, Claude 4.5 for the fourth and a half time. Everything's
Yeah.
changing. This is it for software engineers, and we'll wait a couple weeks, and I think everything will die down again, and I won't see any more software shipped than I did a couple weeks ago. But having said that. at the risk of sounding too much like an AI skeptic, I do think the new models are very good, and I've just started to be able to use them at work. Um,
Oh,
but
nice.
I think this is actually a topic I've been wanting to ask you about for a while, Josh, because and I think we've touched on it before, but given both of us work at large companies, large enterprises, I think like the like Twitter hype and the story that you get fed when you read these tweet threads or whatever is like, well, this time it's completely different. You know, these new models can one shot entire apps. They can build complex features. I'm not doing any opening of the editor. The
Yeah.
capabilities are out of this world, and I'm reading and I'm like, that's maybe true for you if you open a blank canvas and are trying to build a crud app or whatever with basic technology. Like, that probably is possible now, but what about the thousands and millions of people that work at very large software organizations with lots of internal code, internal structure, internal packages, infrastructure that's unique? um, I I honestly haven't seen that big of a change to that demographic, which I feel like is a big one. But you never see people on Twitter talking about that part of it. What's your experience there?
Yeah, it's kind of goes back to like where is this the most useful right now? Is it like the greenfield blank canvas? Let's get a 0 to 1. I built this chat app. Okay, that's great. And then or is it like it's fully like replacing my job that I was doing and it is super powerful in this super complex thing. And I think that that's a real difference. One thing that I mean, I read and watched two things recently, kind of tail end of this break, that were really helpful perspectives on how all this works. And I think it really depends on how you hold the all of this and use it. So I'll have to share the links with you and our listeners as well. One is an essay from Sunil Pai from Cloudflare, 3.1 fame on the web. Wrote a really like in-depth article, it's like 20-minute read about uh, like the way that senior devs should be using and structuring AI in their day-to-day work with more complex, mature systems, setting up guidelines and like tests and feedback, and just like really sitting down and formalizing the process. The other is this video from a tech conference called it's about harness engineering, and I don't remember the guy's name. I'll have to find it. But it was also it's in a similarly, it was just like, you know, here's like the three phases you should be using these agents, and this is why it makes sense, and why they do what they do, and why sometimes after you talk to them for too long they stop making any sense.
Yeah,
um, and so that's I mean, it's really interesting to me. I think people have such mixed results too, so it's hard to say.
I know, and you often see like there's a bias on Twitter, right? Of like the posts that go viral are the ones that are like, I had this smashing success, with one prompt and now we got an app. But you don't
Mm.
see, as many tweets of people that tried it and struggled and couldn't get it to do uh, what they wanted it to do. So there's definitely a
Yep.
bias there. But I feel like, um, yeah, I don't know. There's starting to be like a little bit more rigor around how people are using coding agents. There's a little bit more like common knowledge, best practices, that kind of thing that's starting to come out of like, all right, you should probably do a little bit of planning up front. You should probably give it some kind of feedback loop, allow it to run tests, allow it to click in the browser. You should probably, try and get it to do multiple versions of the same feature and pick which one you like. But so there's some stuff like that that's starting to coalesce. We're starting to coalesce around some of those patterns, which is definitely helpful. But I feel like I'm still missing like the okay, that might work if you're working alone on this project that you just started yesterday, but it's like, how about this code base that's already a million lines long that doesn't fit in a context window? Okay, what do you do about that?
Right.
What do you do about these features that have to interlock with multiple different teams, multiple different parts of the organization? What if you're not even shipping an entire web app by yourself? What if you're just responsible for one piece of it? Um, a lot of those
Yeah.
questions I feel like are still unanswered. So forgive me if I roll my eyes a little bit when people say it's the end of the software engineer on Twitter.
Tell, I think that's a good transition into like how are you approaching it at work these days? Like, are you like going full in? Are you like tinkering with it, like AI assisted stuff? How does it impact your day to day?
Yeah, I think like I'm still I don't know. The approach I've been trying to take lately is so I still use it every day. We have cursor access, we have Claude Code access. We can use the latest models, that kind of stuff. But because of some of the challenges that I was just talking about, it's like I feel like my responsibility as an engineer has has turned into more like how can I plan and break down features into a small enough piece that an agent can do it. And
Yeah,
that makes sense. It's like
exactly.
I can't just hand it this Jira ticket because it doesn't understand any of the context around um how this fits into the broader application or the broader organization. But it's like, okay, maybe I can take a few steps quote unquote manually to narrow this down into a ticket that it can handle, like um wiring up an endpoint to display a master detail list on a UI. Like that's something that it's going to be great at, but it doesn't
Yeah.
know how to do the first 10 steps to figure out what endpoint and what data needs to be surfaced and how the users are going to look at it, and uh, all of those other million questions that come before you even sit down to write, a fetch array map into a React component. So I feel like I've been trying to approach it more from that lens of like, starting from step one, the agent can't help me yet because it's just there's too many vague requirements, there's too many moving pieces. But is there a path for me to get it into a state where the agent can't help? So I feel like I've been trying to approach it from that realm, but it's still difficult, still a learning process for sure.
I really enjoy when I like stumble upon a use case where I'm like, yes, I know an agent's gonna
Yeah,
it's gonna knock this one out of the park. Like, oh, this is a controller. Like, this needs to go add this line. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and I'll hand it off. I know they can do it. And the 1 in 10 times where it's like, wow, it totally failed. Like,
yeah,
and then you start to question your own like experience. Like, wait, was I wrong? Was this gonna be way harder than I thought, or is
yeah.
it agent just being really like incompetent? Um, yeah, it's funny.
It is a tough. It is like I feel like we're in a tough spot because the models are getting very good at a lot of stuff. So it's tempting to just be like, let it run wild. It's doing the right thing. I'm verifying, that the features still work or whatever. But it's like, especially when you work in a large organization and it's your job that's on the line. I'm not sending an AI generated PR to my coworkers to review, even though, Claude 4.5 or GPT 5.2, whatever, even though they can hold way more knowledge in their LLM brain than I can. It's still my job that's on the line when I send out code. So, like, I still have to review every line of code. I still have to do all the testing myself. All of that is still in play, no matter how good the models get, at least in the short term.
Um, I want to share a funny story. I was helping somebody recently because they had been given a spreadsheet. It was like an Excel spreadsheet, but there was like some XML in one of the columns from like some CMS export, and they had been tasked with getting all the video files out of the XML, and so they had been like had this XML parser site with a bunch of ads all over it. Like, it's like, how do I do this? And so I was very surprised by my instinct to be just like, do you have access to ChatGPT? Like, that's my first go-to now. And it's
Yep.
so wild that a couple of years ago that would have been unheard of or like unfathomable. But I was like, actually, this is Microsoft Office. I can just access this brand new Copilot thing. Boy, I've learned how poorly they executed on that. There's a Copilot button in Excel. You're looking at this spreadsheet. You click the Copilot button. It opens the sidebar and says, "How can I help you today?" And I say, "Can you just look for video files in this spreadsheet and produce another spreadsheet with just the videos?" And I type it, and it's like, "Sure, I'd love to. What's the spreadsheet? Can you provide it?" I'm like, "It's this one." And so I literally had to like download the spreadsheet I was on and upload it. And then even in the UI, you can highlight cells in Excel and it has a little magic icon that appears and it says chat with Copilot. It's like, yes, this is it. And do that. And I type the same thing effectively. And they're like, sure, provide the spreadsheet. Like that, how did that not? So it's just like the most basic things. I was surprised that Microsoft had missed the mark on that.
That doesn't
Anyway, I thought that
doesn't
was
really
funny.
wholly surprise me, but that is funny. My dad was just setting up a new PC at home and went from Windows 10 to Windows 11, and I was like, well, we should probably sit down together and let me help you disable 90% of the stuff that they
Mhm.
try and put ads in your start menu and force you to use Copilot every time you open a document. I'm like, we should probably sit down and clear out some of that stuff so it doesn't get in the way. But
Yeah.
yeah, that does not necessarily
Yeah.
surprise me. Um,
Oh boy.
yeah, I feel like since we're on the topic anyways, so we have been vibe coding lately, Josh. We
Hmm.
actually independently started vibe coding the same project idea that we had. We discussed a few weeks ago. Wouldn't it be cool if we had some kind of software to do an async podcast where we can each record clips and responses to each other on our own schedule? Since I don't know if you
Yeah.
noticed, but we've struggled to keep a regular podcast recording schedule. Uh, but we talked about that idea, and yeah, we both independently set off some agents on it, and we had different experiences, and I think there's a couple of reasons why. My experiment was a major failure. I did not get to even an MVP state, and I had a couple interesting experiences along the way. So I'll just
Yeah.
mention like when I first kicked it off, I was like, let's do. I was like, I wanted to experiment with like true vibe coding where I'm not looking at the code at all. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, if there's an error, I just paste it in, fix it, and just keep that cycle going. And the agent picked TanStack Start as the framework, and it was going to put it on
Wow.
Cloudflare. Um,
That's a new one.
I know, and I was like, okay. I was like, if it wants to do that, I'm sure it knows what it's doing. Foreshadowing. It did not know what it was doing. It
Oh
hit just
no.
constant error after constant error. I was using old versions. It was. I would paste in the docs. Here's the TanStack docs. Please look at these before you do anything else. It would not look at the
Uh-huh.
docs. Writing outdated code. I couldn't. I mean, it took me like an hour, 2 hours of prompting just to get something to show up on the screen instead of an error overlay. So I fought with it for
No.
a while and decided to give up. And I think it's
Yeah.
partially my fault because I did not use the best model. I did not pay a bunch of money for it. I did not load up my Claude Max with $100 to do this. I did not want to do any of that. I didn't want to spend my hard earned cash churning through
Yeah.
tokens on this throwaway project. So definitely that plays into it a little bit, but there's definitely a reality check for me there where it's like, maybe the era of personal software is still a few more years out. But it sounded like you had a different
Yeah.
experience.
I did. So one thing that I am super excited about, and we should spend a future episode on, is this thing called Zo Computer. And Zo is a personal computer in the cloud. So it's like you have your own access to a computer. It's at a specific URL. It's a persistent hard drive. You have your own files on the system. You can SSH in. It's an actual Linux computer. But it has this kind of operating system, an agentic operating system. And the really killer feature about this, among other things, is that you can text it or you can email it as well. So I just text it from my phone or shoot off an email from my phone or my computer, and it starts an agent conversation. And Zoe has this thing built in called Sites, and so it's kind of an opinionated framework that they smartly built so that non-technical people can even create sites with some. It has like pre-made components for graphs and stuff, but it's powered by Bun and Hono for like the router, Tailwind for the components and styling. And uh, initially, I tried Zoho out when it was announced in November. They have a free plan, but it really limits your use of models, and it also shuts the sandbox down every like, I don't know, after 10 minutes of inactivity. So most of my time was spent just staring at the screen of it starting up, and then I get bored or have to move on with my day. But then the other day I was like, you know what? I make money at a big boy job. I can pay for the ultra plan for 1 month. And so I threw down $200. I was like, you know what? Let's go. Um, and I have not made that money back. But the really cool part about it is you get your machine stays on, and you get access to $100 worth of AI credits. And so I was like, I bet I could use. Let's see how much I can use of those. I had Zoe build me our podcast app with its sites feature, and I'll say it did pretty well. The only issues I ran into initially were like recording audio in Safari on a phone is actually really a bummer. I don't know. I don't know what it was doing, but like I think some sort of encoding is different on iOS Safari versus everything else. Um, but the agent, after a few attempts, was like, you know what? I'm just going to install FFmpeg and I'll convert everything to MP3 for you. And I was like, wow, that's wild. Um, and I tried to get it to add auth. It kind of did, but then like every time I refreshed the page, it logged me out, and we struggled with that for a while, me and the agent. So stuff like basics, like auth, it needs to be a lot better. But yeah, I was pretty impressed by it. I'm still not sold on the idea. We'll have to try a big episode with you and me just doing the async thing, and I'm sure it'll just be like, "Hi, Austin. How's it going?" Blah 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 blah. You hear like a car door slam. It's like, "Hey, Josh, it's Austin. I'm in my bedroom." It's like, "That's great, Austin." And it's like 2 weeks later.
I
I'm sure it
think
would be so unnatural.
I think the people want they want to walk along with us. They want to live our lives with us, see what we're doing, catch up with us while we're out and
Yeah,
about. We should definitely try it and put your app through the paces. Um, so
yeah.
did you do the whole thing over text? Are you texting Zoe to tell you to build this, or how did you do it?
I tried some of it with text. The problem with texting is that you have a single long thread, and AI is like the conversations are stateless. You have to feed in the whole conversation every time, and
Mm-hmm.
so it gets pretty deteriorated after a while. What I find is more useful is to switch to email because you can start a new email thread, and that starts a new conversation if you ever want to clear context window and start with a fresh task. And so I did probably a lot of it over email. Um, and that's great because like again, much of the Christmas break is spent like one of us has to be with our 1 year old at any given
Yeah.
time. He's going straight for the toilet bowl to stick
Yep.
his hand in, or
Yep.
ripping some picture frame off the wall. And so like I'm just following him around, but then I'm able to like fire off. I can even use my voice to like compose the email and then hit send, stick it in my pocket, and then I'll feel the ding when it's done. And so that's like completely different than trying to sit at a computer, like waiting for it to like chug through, like watching the files change in cursor.
Yep.
Like I don't
Yep.
have time to do even that. So I don't know. It has me really excited about this. I don't know what you call it, a remote personal computer, or I don't know, something.
So we're
We'll figure it out.
so what was the iteration loop like? Where like can you even see any code? Was there like a local preview, or did you just send an email? It would do all this stuff behind the scenes. Then you'd have like a deployed version that you'd look at, or how did you manage that?
Yeah, the Zo, so it's editing files on your Zo file system. So
Hmm.
they do have a mobile interface. It's not great, but you can go through and look at the files it's created. But I had less interest in that and more in like it will send you it'll start up a dev server and send you a link that then I can just open in my phone. And so
Cool.
I'm actually holding my phone. I'm seeing as the contents are changing with hot model like module reloading
Mhm.
as the agent's working. And so it's like it's really what you want. It's like, is this thing
Yeah.
working? And then I try it again. I'll record another little voice note. Um, the points where it got really frustrating are like the difference between a published site and like private preview site in Zo is that the model keeps forgetting to publish the changes, and so then it'll be like, your changes are done, and I refreshed, and so like I would go back and like, I think you and try again, it didn't work, but then I'll realize 3 turns later they haven't published it, and like, oh, so and then I'll have them publish it, and it's like a completely different looking app by then because oh no, it's like the model went overboard, but I don't know, it's a really interesting. I don't know if I ever sat down and like looked at the code. Um, but
Yeah, that's really
yeah,
cool,
we should do
Josh.
Zo.
We should definitely do an episode about that. I should give it a spin as well. I don't know if I'll do the $200 a month plan, but I'll definitely take a look at it.
Yeah,
I feel like
you should.
I have to wrap up here in a few minutes, but I I don't want to get labeled as the AI skeptic guy because of my generally negative takes or my skepticism about
Someone has
Twitter
to
at
be.
least. Maybe I'm an AI hype guy skeptic. I'm skeptic of the guys on Twitter.
There you go. Yeah.
But I was like I did have a moment the other day where I was I think I mentioned last podcast episode I was itching to do another side project or just like fiddle on some things in my spare time. So I resurrected an old mobile app that I started a couple years ago that was just like sports scores, basically, college basketball scores and football scores, NFL scores. There's 100 apps to do that right now, but all of them either have ads or gambling or live chat or
Yeah.
all three. So I was like, I just want scores.
Yeah.
Um, so I resurrected that and was trying to upgrade from like Expo 50 to Expo 54, and the agent could not do that, so I stepped in and did it. Uh, but I'm piggybacking off of a third party API it's not like a developer facing API. I'm just like sniffing network requests and trying to reverse engineer
Yeah.
this API,
Yeah.
which I'm sure is against some kind of terms of service, but it's just me.
Yep.
And I had done a lot of it manually like a couple years ago before I had gotten into more AI coding stuff. And I was like, this is actually a perfect agent use case because I'm like, here's the base URL. Here are the routes in the API that I know about. Use curl and just like try to find more. Basically, like test out a bunch of different ideas, test out parameters, test out, different sorting, filtering, test out a bunch of stuff. Anytime you confirm a route, write it in this file and generate response types, put it in this other file. Um, like this is such a perfect use case for an agent because I'm like, I was doing that before and it sucked. like I was
Yeah.
the one that was like
Exactly.
trying out these different APIs and then like, okay, here's the response. I'll copy and paste that response into some kind of like awful TypeScript type generator UI to like try and get some halfway decent types. I'm like, this is perfect. I'm like, you agent, you can curl. You have a good idea of how REST APIs are structured. Do your best, and then like make sure to write it all down so future agents can use it too. And I'm like, this is the kind of stuff that it's just like it feels so good to use agents for that kind of grunt work because you're like, if this wasn't you, it would have been me, and I really didn't want to do that. So
Hmm.
I still have
They're
many of
so
those
great for
moments
that.
where
Yeah.
it feels great to use.
Yeah. Everything's changed. I'm just kidding. Yeah. AI hype person to close out our episode.
Yeah, that's right.
Um, we're all behind.
Yep.
Yeah.
Already, since we've been recording this podcast for 30 minutes, something else has happened on Twitter. I'm sure. Um,
I'm sure. Yeah. Some new model, um, new open source project. But
yeah. Well,
Austin, good luck with your move next week or your closing next week.
thank you.
And I anticipated gradual move, but
Yes,
may you all have good health and restful sleep.
I appreciate it. Those two things are definitely needed. As long as I have you here, you're free to help me move next week, right?
Oh yeah, yep. I will block off my calendar. Oh shoot, you know what? I have meetings, so
Well, if you get sick of meetings, you can come maybe at least check out the new house. I won't make you carry anything, but it'd be fun to have you come look at it sometime. Um,
yeah, I definitely
and yeah,
will.
next time we record, I might be in a new room. I might be in a new office. We'll see. I might be able to get my real mic back and some lights and a real camera. So fingers crossed that everything goes smoothly and we can get back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Sounds great. Awesome. Well, thanks, Austin. This has been our first episode of 2026.
All right. Happy
Happy
New
New
Year.
Year. See you, everybody.
See ya.